So Friday, I had to get up early and go to Wells Fargo for Hall of Fame rehearsals.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You did Hall of Fame on Friday.
Yeah, so went over there, did rehearsals, and then I came back for a couple hours and turned right back around, and went back to the Hall of Fame. So that, man, I was there forever. Like SmackDown, that's a
SmackDown.
long. They got to figure that out because that's a really, really long night.
Yeah,
to
it
do
is.
SmackDown and then go to the Hall of Fame.
Because you even were like, hey, do you want to come to the Hall of Fame or do you want tickets to SmackDown and stuff? And, I was talking to Amy and my buddy had come into town and everyone was like, and they were like, what time's the Hall of Fame start? And I was like, maybe like 10 something.
No, it was 11.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it
they
didn't
were
start
all,
till 11.
and Amy was like, that's way past my bedtime. And I was like, yeah, it's like, and then I'm essentially watching it because I have the Peacock app and I'm
Right.
watching it on my phone.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was a long night. I was not. I'm kind of glad that I made the decision that I made.
Yeah, no, it was a good decision, and it's a long night, and again, we're in Philly.
Yeah.
So once they're done, they're done, and so they started out the Hall of Fame with Paul, right?
Yeah.
Usually the headliner goes on last, right? But it was smart. I mean, they had stuff they had to do, So Paul starts the Hall of Fame, and that's what most of the people, that's who they were there to see was Paul, and then, his speech and everything else was so good and engaging. And, that's another problem when you give a great, acceptance speech and all that, like, they're popping and carrying on.
They're a little exhausted.
Yeah,
from
they
it.
get tired too, right? So, I was there, and I had I was so tickled to be there and be able to induct Muhammad Ali. That was
Well, there was some people that wasn't tickled. That
you know what I'm glad you brought that up.
It rubbed both of us wrong.
It did. So I got a little heat from part of the veteran community, for people that don't know, like Muhammad Ali, I don't know who wouldn't know this, but Muhammad Ali refused to go into the army or the service. What I don't remember.
He didn't want to go to Vietnam.
He didn't want to go to Vietnam. He didn't see why that he was going to go 6,000 miles away from home to fight somebody that had no, and he didn't do it, and he ended up losing everything.
Yeah.
And to be honest, like for a large part of my life, like I resented Ali over that.
Yeah.
But the thing, when you look at everything that Muhammad did, not even the athletic end of it, not even the boxing side of it, but the things that he did as a humanitarian and everything, I don't agree. I still don't agree with not going. Your country asks you to go do something. Your country. I mean, you could do it, and I mean that's how I am, and I wouldn't. But when you think about the conviction that he must have had and the beliefs, such a strong belief in what he thought was right and what he thought wasn't, he gave up everything.
And there's not a lot of people that would be willing to give up everything for their belief, for whatever they believe in, right?
Yeah.
And that shows a lot about him. I may not agree with what he believed in, and I may not agree with that.
Yeah.
But I have to commend him on being willing to sacrifice everything for his belief.
Yeah.
And what what he thought was the right thing.
Right.
And just because what he thought was the right thing versus what I think is the right thing doesn't mean that I'm right and he's wrong.
Right.
Now, as someone who did serve my country, I think it's silly for people to get upset at you for inducting Muhammad Ali into the WWE Hall of Fame.
Right.
I can separate a lot of things with people. I can separate what he did when it comes to not wanting to go into the army and go to Vietnam.
Right.
That part I can be upset about. But I cannot be upset about the fact that he may be the greatest athlete that's ever walked the face of the earth.
Absolutely.
And I can't be upset about what his contributions to the WWE were.
Right.
I can't be upset with, tell me a better boxer. It's what he did as an athlete. I can put that here. I can put what he did as a humanitarian here. And then there's one thing
Right. Yeah.
that pissed me off. I'm going to allow that one thing to take away all that other stuff.
Take away the other
and then
stuff.
take that one thing and be pissed at you for inducting him.
Well, I think too, it was like when I thought Undertaker was a patriot. I thought, man, kiss my ass. All right.
Exactly.
Kiss my patriot ass. That's,
Yeah.
And, it just,
Well, let me tell you
just
something.
rubbed me a little bit.
As a veteran, the people that love to complain and whine more than anything, and I'll get some hate over this, is veterans. We love nothing more than to be pissed off at somebody else.
And there's a lot of reasons
drives
to
me
be pissed.
crazy.
There are a lot of reasons, I get some of it, but yeah, it was just like,
There's no reason to give you hate over inducting.
over inducting Muhammad Ali. I mean, my goodness.
Yeah. And
And his wife, and what a sweet lady, man.
she seemed like it. I've never met her, but just what I saw
oh
on
my
camera.
goodness, she was so sweet, man. And just, I sat back, I got this, because not a lot of people know this. So during rehearsals and we're waiting, and as you fall behind. So I just, we're sitting down and we start talking. And, there's, as athlete, Muhammad, my entertainer is Elvis.
Yeah.
So I had to ask her. I had to ask her about Ali and Elvis's relationship. They were really good friends. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
They were good friends. And I was like, how close were they? And she was just like, oh my goodness, Elvis made made that robe for him and all of all that. And so I was just like, I was fanboying out a little bit because, those are my two guys,
Yeah.
right? And then to know that they were friends. But she was such a sweet lady, and I think it was a shame because once it got to the Hall of Fame, like I knew, like, okay, this crowd's getting a little bit, and they're it's getting a little.
And he was second, right?
Third. I think it was
U.S.
Paul,
Express.
Paul Heyman went first. I think Bull Nakano.
That's right. Yeah.
And then I think it was Ali.
Yeah.
So, but I could tell, there was kind of a mass exodus of people, and they were kind of getting a little edgy. So I went really fast, and but I wanted to make sure that they were still really. They were still really kind to her, and but man, to me, hate and all, that was a huge honor, for me, being an Ali guy like that, to be able to induct him into the WWE Hall of Fame. That was a
you
good
even
time.
told me, you said that you were almost as excited to induct Muhammad Ali as you were getting the call that you were going into the Hall of Fame.
For a large part of that, I was even more nervous. I was like, crap, man, this is Muhammad Ali, right? I can't screw this up, I was like, oh man, but it turned out good, and I was really happy. But yeah, my whole day was wrapped around that Friday, and then
Saturday was cool.
Saturday was really cool. I got to sit on the panel for the Bray Wyatt documentary, which, man, I don't know that anybody does documentaries better than WWE. I mean,
even if you're not a wrestling fan,
they'll make you a wrestling fan, just how good they are.
So my buddy that came, he hasn't watched wrestling since he was like 12.
Right.
Doesn't know anything about Bray Wyatt.
Right.
We go into WWE World, and he fell in love with that character to a point where he was like, I'm going to go back and I'm going to watch this documentary. We stood there and watched, the panel and everything.
Right.
And I told him, I was like, dude, there was times where I wanted to cry during the documentary. It was so good.
sad.
It was such a good documentary. It was so well done. But that panel that you got to sit on, and you got to, sit there with the family, and you narrated the documentary, which I think it's been kind of documented now how much Bray, like of a fan you are of Bray Wyatt and that character and what he did. And
yeah, he really was kind of a visionary in the sense of how he thought outside of the box, and I brought that up during the panel. Is he definitely, there was nothing cookie cutter about Bray.
Yeah.
And it was it was a lot of fun, and it was really important to me. Like, I was honored when they called me and said, "Hey, do you want to narrate this?" And I was like, "Absolutely, 100%, I want to do it." And just wanted to make sure that the family was happy with it. And
yeah, that bears a lot of weight to
do
and
it's
something
still,
that's important.
Yeah, and that's still, everything's really still fresh.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not been
You can
that
see it in
long.
his dad.
Yeah, it's taken its toll on the whole family. Michael, Mike. I mean, it's tough. I couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
What that pain feels like, and to know that it is still so raw. You just want to make sure that you do the best that you can.
I'm
possibly
glad that him and Barry were able to get inducted in the Hall of Fame, and there was some happiness, some joy that was brought to that family for a weekend. You know what I'm saying? That was nice.